gonna take a look at Phil Eklund's Greenland. Quick warning, treat this more as a comedy than anything else, because quite simply, I started trying to fiddle around with it and couldn't handle it even without the video. So I'm like, screw it, I'll make it through the rules again. I'll see how high my level of frustration is, but I don't expect to make it through this, and I don't expect there to be any sense to the game. And here's why. Once upon a time, I loved Phil Eklund's games. Lords of Sierra Madre, Lords of the Renaissance. Let me think what else really appealed. The original High Frontier. The first one that kind of I played and said, what the fuck? This doesn't make any sense, was Origins. I really, really liked American Megafauna. That was an amazing game. But Origins was like, it doesn't really try to explain what the fuck is going on here. My feeling being, okay, I'm just stupid and I'm not getting, I don't understand the background enough. And these other games, the backgrounds were pretty much intuitive things. He's got this weird theory, right, on that guides Origins. And if you're not, invested in that theory, what you're facing is kind of a mishmash Euro type situation where you don't have any fucking clue what's going on. Okay, fine. I played Pax Porfiriana opposed with him, actually. I think it was already out. I don't think it was like a playtest version or anything. I played Bios Megafauna with him, and that kind of made sense, but again, I didn't have to read the rules. But anyway, Pax Porfiriana felt kind of like playing a game of Illuminati. It's so much less than Lords of Sierra Madre. So I've been kind of avoiding his newer stuff. But for whatever reason, Greenland was available at a reasonably cheap price. It's a small game. Again, one of these card ones, so I don't have a lot of hope for it, right? But it's a small game, and I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. I've been kind of shying away from his stuff, and High Frontier's been adding more and more crap, and I'm not sure, I've played the more recent versions of it, the deluxe thing and everything, and I'm like, I don't want to face, first of all, I don't want to face something that's constantly being upgraded or updated, where, you have to buy new versions each time. I've gone through, I had the original, and I think I've already had to replace a map or something because of updates. I don't want to cope with that. But anyway, this is kind of one of my chances at it. And like I said, I read through the rules a while back while I was playing Serbia. I couldn't convince myself to start it there. I decided, okay, I'm going to come down and I'm going to play this so that I understand it, And I started doing it, and I got to tell you, I want to capture this, So I'm going to start. I'm going to start over from the same position I was in, because it highlights so much of what's wrong with Euros and how you cannot use Eurofied rules description to, drive a understanding of a game. And I think that's kind of the importance of all of this rather than anything else. But as usual, we're going to start with the rules. And let me switch pipes, and we'll see. We'll see. But when I started playing, none of it made a fucking bit of sense. And that's one of the problems with Euros. But this is not a trivial game, right? It's one thing when you're pulling out a fairly light Euro and it doesn't, connect what the hell you're doing and why. You're just throwing pieces around and whatever, and maybe it exposes itself. It's another when you're talking about a more and more complex Euro. And this is a fairly complex Euro when it comes down to it, at least by my book. And it probably doesn't help that it's essentially worker placement. If you recall from any of my other videos, I tend to despise worker placement type situations. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be looking at all these different options of places to put your little pieces. It's not like a matter of, oh, you know, I can invest in craftsmen and they'll do craftsman stuff. No, I take one of my pieces and I look to see where I put him, and maybe what he is being put in is a craftsman type thing, but it's not like I've bought a craftsman thinking craftsman will be useful, you know, which is sort of a sensible pattern for me. Whereas I've got random people and I make them into something based on this complex tableau that I have to fully understand to make good decisions, right? Well, I'm not going to fully understand shit. The only way that I can fully understand something like that is if I'm so dedicated to the game and love it so much from the beginning that I'm willing to put that effort in. So like Europa Universalis, I played a number of times. I'm not going to say I'm any kind of expert at it, but I played it enough times to get kind of a feeling of, oh, this was a bad idea because of this. But there was always an intuitive thing. There wasn't like, I have to read every single card and make, in order to make any kind of judgment at all. And maybe I'm going to play this more like I would approach an EU or a game that actually is directly linked so that you can intuitively see what you're supposed to do. The way American Megafauna was, the way, I'm not going to say High Frontier because it's kind of complex to figure out what the hell you're supposed to do in High Frontier at all. But the way Lords of Sierra Madre is, you know, you're like, hey, I'm supposed to make money. These things are supposed to be money making. Let me do them. Well, we'll try to play this in that fashion and we'll approach it from that fashion. And you'll see what the difference between that Euro design philosophy and what I would call the more directly linked to the subject matter. The subject matter drives your actions, drives the design. Here, this could be many different things, right? The subject matter does not drive that you should use cards, for example, instead of, say, a map that has changing features to it. Just a few. Now, in a sense, this is a map with changing features, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Anyway, we're going to approach this from the rules. I'm not going to even try to go over what things are, because how clear is that? It may be listed here, and we'll deal with it in the order that the rules deal with it. And again, this is more to highlight my frustration with this kind of design philosophy and rule set than anything else. Don't work just from the rule book, but I want to do it here because it's got, I mean, I usually work largely from the rule book, but I don't work just from the rule book. I give sort of an introduction to what the fuck's going on. But because I can't figure out what's going to be going on, and I don't want to face this thing more than once, probably not even a full time, I'm not going to do so. I'm going to go here. So you've got three different tribes: the Tunit, the Norse, and the Thule. The Tunit are, well, we'll see. Yeah, the Thule are the Inuit. The Tunit are another North American native tribe. They're actually the earliest that's getting into Greenland, supposedly, but the Inuit come soon afterwards, and then you basically have this race while Greenland is a little warmer. Each turn is going to represent a whole generation with 6 phases during which you do your actions. So the base sequence of play is there's going to be an event card drawn, and you process that. Now, this is where it hit me, and I said I got to stop. Processing the event card involved me basically going through rule by rule. Yep, the event card does this. Nope, it doesn't do this. And you'll see why. And that was just the I can't do this more than once. Then you assign your hunter cubes, and you have these unassigned cubes to begin with to do stuff. This is the worker placement, right? They can go on biomes, which are up here, and you have that split into the North and South Greenland. And then you might have stuff in the New World. The New World's here. This side is as the world starts getting cold, the board starts shifting that way, which is a clever little way to handle things. I got no problem with that. You can also assign them to become elders, where they do elder stuff, whatever that is, which is on each of these cards, and you have to be completely familiar with all of them to make any decisions. And you can do raids either of livestock. The North start with some livestock. I don't know. And or for daughters with Sabine raids. Or you can defend your Tableau cards. Well, right now the Tableau cards don't really exist, but except I think this. Daughters may be Tableau cards, I don't know. But those are not even defined until you get to section E of the rules, which is quite far in. I've read it, I don't remember shit, and it didn't stick because it's not intuitive. Then you're allowed to bribe other players to peacefully withdraw hunters, including marrying them to your daughters. Players with a Warchief Elder can use their hunters to attack other hunters in the same card. If Markland or Vinland ends up with more than 6 cubes, the card will flip to its hostile side. I thought it was the cold side, it's not. Which indicates that the actual inhabitants there are resenting the encroachments. At the end of the phase, you can spend ivory, which I think is this white stuff, to pacify a New World card. These are the New World cards. Okay. And then you make hunt rolls, rolling a die for each of your assigned hunters. If the numbers of 1s and 2s are at least equal to the number shown on the biome being hunted. Well, there are a lot of numbers shown on the biome being hunted, aren't there? This seems to be a major number. Infinity is probably not a number. There are some dice numbers here. There's dice numbers here. There's a Roman number here, and there's victory point numbers here. So I'm guessing it's this number. But that number seems awfully high, and it also seems counterintuitive for reasons that we'll hit in a little while. So I don't know what the number shown on the biome is. There's no dissection of the card yet. If we go here, we have a climax. That's the number that I was pointing to. I don't have another number that seems clear. So, I don't know. We will see, because maybe in the rules it'll tell me better. Then you add new babies. Well, up here, there are babies, but I got babies here. So maybe it's the die roll number. Maybe it's something else. Maybe number means the number of dice there. I don't know. Okay, these will be coming from the stock back here, which is called Valhalla, and it's just, you know, unassigned cubes. Cubes you don't have available at that point. Hunter cubes for the next generation, and or new resources as indicated. Okay, so I have the feeling it has to do with this section of it, from what I know, having read it, but you know, I didn't fiddle around or look at the cards while reading the rules, right? Because I expect rules to explain what's going on. Again, card games may be just harder to cope with in that sort of way. They should therefore be simpler games, is my feeling. But, okay. And we do have like 1s or 2s listed here. And again, maybe that's what they mean. But there is no, the number shown is quite large in some cases. And where it's quite small, it tends to be areas where it seems like life is harder. So, and they go away quickly. Okay, well, we'll keep looking. For row cards on the cold side, only 1s are successful. And if we flip this over on the cold side, that'll be over here. Okay. This is on not cold, that's hostile. Right. Okay. Wives, elders, or domesticated animals may allow rerolls of the specified value. That'll be spelled out on these cards. There's so many cards out at the beginning of the game that there's a high burden towards, you know, the beginning, figuring out what's where. There's no geographical, you know, clues or anything to help you find synergies. Nothing like that. It looks like this is a map. It's really not. It's just a series of cards. Although I believe they move from this end to this end, so it gets cold in this direction, or something like that. Some cards allow all dice of the specified value to be counted as 1s. And if multiple players have cubes on a card other than Markland or Vinland, the first to hunt successfully reaps the benefits, the others go home empty-handed. The shark bite icons, which I think are these, somehow I think dice being bitten is shark bites, but maybe I'm wrong. They do show it as that. Show which dice rolls kill off hunters, regardless if the hunt is successful or not. If you roll any dice with that number, you have problems. And the cubes go back to your unassigned hunters. Oh, surviving cubes go back. Biomes with inventions or domesticatable animals can be taken into your hand. I think these are the invention. No, these are trophies. I don't know. This might be an invention. Can be taken back into your hand and are replaced on the row. Biomes with trophies can be added to your tableau but aren't replaced. Each D card in your tableau, this is a D card. I guess this is the D. It's got something squirreled in it which looks like a fox or a wolf, but it's got sheep. So this is a D. This is not an this is an invention. It's got an I. Gives you the babies specified without a hunt roll if you expend the energy or elders specified. So for example, with this, I don't know, I've got to expend the energy or elders specified. Well, I don't see anything specified. I do see a D with a wolf, a raid number, which I believe the enemy's players do to you, a value, which may be fuel, and you may have to expend that, and then you maybe get a baby or a fish or an energy for an energy. I don't know. Who the hell knows? Elder actions. Finally, all players perform their elder actions if they have cubes of the proper rank. So you have 6 different types of elders on each card, and they each allow you to do something. And again, we're just going to learn the game by fucking around. I don't have, like I said, the willpower to fuck around and then try to play it. So this is the full Callendale treatment. What I do when I face normally when I face games is I read the rules once, the game is obvious to me more or less, and then I start playing it. Well, often I've been finding the game is not obvious to me, especially with the heavier Euros and stuff, and I just don't fucking know what I'm supposed to do, and this is in that category. Usually I play those a little bit, not doing it this time. So if you have no elders, you may convert to monotheism. And that is, you flip this over and you get a whole new set of capabilities, which of course, you will have to be familiar with in order to be able to make that decision. And that's the thing. You have to be familiar with everything that's out here. All these words on all these cards in order to make anything like a reasonable decision. And I am in no mood to familiarize myself with everything, but this is the game that I was trying to get to, and screw it, I'm going to hate it, and I know that, but let's do it, because we got to get it off the plate. All right, player order. An icon on the upper left corner of the turn's event card. Well, at the beginning of the game, 10 events are chosen. Let's take one here. So upper left, it tells you which color player is going to go first. In all phases except 3, 4, and 6, okay, negotiate, roll for hunt, and elder actions. The first player goes first, and then you go clockwise. I, of course, will be going counterclockwise, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really in a circle, so it's kind of weird. Okay. Council of War. If this turn's event designates you as the first player and you have a rank 4 elder, Warchief, at the start of the turn, you may designate another player as the first player for the entire turn, then go clockwise. So you're not forced into being first. Okay. And yeah, that's specified on your card. Okay. Attack order, phase 3. If players on the same card wish to attack each other, the player with the most iron attacks first, and that's the black discs. Okay. If not, you go to player order. Hunt order. If multiple players have cubes on a biome, the one with the least hunters rolls first. The idea being they have more flexibility and mobility than a larger group. And there's a whole set of footnotes to this to explain stuff like that. Sometimes I've read them all. They're not going to all stick, but that one did. It would be useful. It would be useful if it was a real-size rulebook and a whole lot of other stuff. But of course, then you couldn't fit things in this convenient small box. This is a game you could throw in your pocket and bring to a coffee shop. It does take up a little bit of space. Biome resolution. The first player decides which card is hunted first, second, third. This is important in a Sabine raid in which you might gain or lose the ability of a daughter. I'm not sure how you lose them, because I think you get to keep your daughters no matter what. But maybe if your wives are taken. I don't know if that can happen. Hunt for, yeah, that can happen. I'm pretty sure. Hunt first. Certain cards allow you to hunt first on the card if the specified biome type. If tied to hunt first, go in the least hunter order as normal. Then elder actions. The polytheists go first and do all their stuff simultaneously. Then the monotheists go. Okay, now we talk about the components. We didn't want to talk about them before, but we'll do it now. I'm trying to get myself just a little bit more space because I was unhappy with where my stuff is. Okay, population cubes. These are your people. They're elders if they're on the elder card, colonists on the New World, husbands if on the exogamy space of a daughter card, and I didn't know that was there, and hunters if anywhere else. There are 18 in each player's color. You must keep your unassigned hunters separate from Valhalla. Then you have a larger cube, which is your alpha human. The orange discs are energy, burning wood, fuel, blubber. They can support domestic animals, promote hunters to elders, and perform certain elder actions. The white discs are ivory. They can be used to auction imported goods arriving by ship. They're worth a victory point each if you're monotheistic. The black discs are iron. They make tools, reverse losses, and allow you to attack first. They're worth 2 victory points each for monotheistic players. Hey, what about polytheism? Yeah. They get different victory points. There are 60 cards, 16 are event cards, 14 North Greenland, 15 South Greenland, 2 New World cards, 3 Elder cards for each player, the Daughters, and 2 Norse domestic animals cards. Anatomies are shown on the side of the box. Well, I understand the save space. So, let's see. That's an event card. There's a biome. Okay, hunt success equals 2 babies, 2 hits required for hunt success. So yeah, the number is the number of dice shown in that upper left corner. That was the question we had come to before. Again, they're trying to save space by putting information on the box cover. But man, that makes it hard when you're just reading the rules, right? Like one would normally do, I think. I don't know about the rest of you, but in general, when I'm preparing for a game, I'm playing something else. I don't want to fuck around fiddling with the pieces. I grab the rule book. If it's tiny like this, I take it on the crapper with me, right? You know, or I sit in the tub, or I read it at night, and I'm left with, well, geez, I don't understand what the fuck's going on because I'm reading. I don't want to expend too much energy trying, fiddling around with pieces. There are usually a couple of questions that come out. In this game, there's one big question mark just hanging out there. And it's like, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Maybe it'll all make sense. Well, yeah, it probably does, but there's a lot of words on these cards, And some of them may not make much sense. Like bird cliffs, penguinus impinus. Apparently it's all just flavor text. Text. The only important things are icons. Well, I fucking hate icons. But I guess it's easier to absorb than all the words that appear to be here. But there are some words. Becomes hostile if more than 6 cubes. Okay, that's a special case thing. All right. Let's keep working our way through, and we're having trouble reading this because of the tiny little thing. All right. The game also comes with 6 really crappy looking 6-sided dice, which I probably will go find other crappy dice to use instead. Smaller, crappier dice. Each biome has a biome type shown in the upper right corner. Okay, so this is the hammer type. This is the archer type. It can be maritime hunting, land hunting, fishing, metallurgy, or raid. And we've got those listed down here. The climax is in there. The lower the number, the more likely it's to be replaced by a migration. The homeland. The color of the biome indicates that the card is part of that player's homeland. So the Norse are red, and they seem to have most of South Greenland. Whereas up here, you can see most of the North Greenland is going to be split as homeland for either the Inuit or the Tunit or the Thule. And I won't be able to keep track of which one is actually the Inuit. Because I can't remember. I think they're the Tunit, but I'm not positive. In North Greenland. Red is the North homeland in South Greenland. If the icon is white, it is only part of your homeland if it's part of your tableau. Well, how do you get things in your tableau? We will talk about that shortly. But, you know what? This is so fucking fatiguing. I am just going to swap out and charge it up and go do something. It's probably going to take me several days to work my way through the rules. I am just that frustrated with facing this. But, again, get it out of the way. Get it off my books. Let's keep pushing through. And obviously I don't have the right attitude to be dealing with this right now, but I don't know if I have the right attitude for anything. And I don't know if I'll ever have the right attitude for this. So, you have a face-up row of cards called your Tableau. Your starting Tableau is your Elder plus your Daughters. Okay. It's a row. I don't know. Does it have to be? Why? Biomes with a hand icon can be taken into your hand. We have one of them up here. And again, what does this mean? Well, in this case, it's because it's an invention. In this case, there's no hand and it's a domesticated creature. So, what? I don't know. It looks like the hands are inventions. Again, you know, the important thing is the icon, not the meaning behind it, right? That's the real problem with these games, is they hide the information that would help you be intuitive for what's presumably a game improving in terms of like being able to recognize things quickly icon on the card. If it had said inventions can be taken into your hand and inventions are eyes, which it didn't say actually, that inventions are eyes. I had to figure that out so far. We'd be in a different position here. I would understand, yes, I can convert this biome somehow into an invention. I would want to understand what's going on. Why is this biome turning into an invention? What's going on here? Land doesn't usually turn into ideas or whatever. But none of that is present here. Not even in the footnotes to the whole thing. It is just a facet of some biomes that you can take them into your hand and then they can be put down as inventions or something or other. Okay, well, it looks like D's can be. Is this a hand? It looks different from the other hand. What the fuck? I don't know, but it has cards on it. It's a hand with cards. This is a hand without cards. Okay. So now I see the icon is the same underneath those little squares. I've got to give something up, I guess, for it to work. But again, God. Okay. While in your hand, they represent unrealized ideas, so they're not yet in play, and their abilities in VP are not activated until you play it to your tableau as an elder action, I1 or I4, which doesn't relate to any of this. But that's okay, it's just a reference number. Cards you purchase in auction also go directly into your tableau. Okay. I don't know what gets auctioned or how. There are no more cards available. But okay, we'll keep going. Your hand size is what you're granted by daughters and imports. You could also add 1 for each rank 3 elder. Rank 3 elder says +1 hand size. Whatever. Kind of reminds me of Age of Renaissance, which I have linked with this in the same whatever list. Which is like there's all this little crap that fits together. Now that made more sense, but maybe I was younger then, so. If you have none of these, your hand size is 0. Now, I would expect to see little +1 hand size on some of these daughters. Here's one that has it. It's PP Lee, which sounds like a fetish star. That is the only one that seems to give it, and since I think we have to just trust the icons to express everything in this game, that's what we're going to be on. If you acquire a new hand size and your hand is full, you must choose one to discard. If your hand size drops, you must discard hand cards until your hand size is reached. If you acquire a new hand card and your hand is full. Oh, hand card, not size. DRI, biomes can be taken into your hand or marked with either a purple D or an I. The 2 Norse domesticated animal cards are other examples of D cards, and I think they're the only other example. And then we have something like a book here, which the Tunits start with no literate daughters. If they lose their rank 3 artisan, they cannot have a hand. Well, that to me means, oh, we got Brigitte here who adds 2 to her hand size. Okay, I didn't see that. Again, you start relying on busy cards with icons, and I will not process the information. Again, I'm not going to like this game. We know that. Why did I buy it? It was cheap. I wanted to give Eklund's newer designs a look. I should just be putting it aside right now, and I may not actually get very far in playing it. Exchanging cards for discs. If a card in your tableau depicts a resource disc labeled value. Okay, none of the daughters do. Some of these do. I think only on that reverse side. But who knows? But this is actually labeled value. It's a disc labeled value. Okay. What does that mean? At any time you can discard it to gain the disc specified in exchange. Well, there are no discs specified there. There's maybe a black disc on it. Yeah. But some of them have a disc that's not black. It's any disc labeled value. Okay, so let's look. So this one has 2 red discs labeled value and another red disc or orange disc over here, but I think that's part of some other piece of information. Okay. And discarded, I guess, means just gone. So you're discarding that invention and just getting something out. Well, this may be a trophy, but it's also an eye, so it's an invention. Whereas this is just a trophy, and how do you tell the difference between the two? I don't know. And this trophy has little white squares on it, which, again, might be cards, might be cubes, might be something else. Probably has some meaning. That's my guess. But yeah. Now this one you can trade for a fish. Fish aren't a thing, right? We have iron, maybe fish or ivory. Fish don't seem white. Yeah, white is ivory. Okay. Great. And it's supposed to be a narwhal. A D card is being livestock rated, cannot be exchanged. Respect woodpile rot when exchanging livestock for energy. Okay, I will. That's coming up. Breakage. If a breakage event occurs, you must exchange 1 card with an iron value icon to gain an iron event, or an iron disc. And that's some other special rule. Cube and disc management. Cubes. You are limited to 1 big and 18 small cubes. Ivory and iron. Use white and black. Unlimited. Woodpile rot. You can never hold more than 8 orange discs. The energy. You may never substitute a disc of one color for a disc of another. Okay, now we go through the setup, which I'm not going to specify too much. This game actually plays solo, supposedly, too. But the event cards are up here. You're not playing with all of them. You only have 10 out of, I think, 14. The draw deck's divided into warm and cold climate. The different biomes are a certain size. The new world is these. Starting cards, randomly assigned by color. The Norse get to choose one of 4 animals. Now, this is one of the things where I just was like, fuck it. I'm just going to video it because I'm tired. I can't cope with this. Here it says, tip, examine the rows before choosing your domestic animal. This is the thing. You can't even fucking start the game without reading all of these damn cards and understanding the game already. You can't make a decent decision. I think I like sheep because they have nice tight asses, so I'm going to go with sheep. Goats seem less eminently fuckable, and although that pony is cute, what the hell. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm reading something with a sheep fucker in it right now. So I tend to take on the characters that I'm reading about. Starting cubes, each player gets a bunch of cubes, but 5 of them and the big cube are under the elder card. These are your unassigned hunters. The other 6 are marking your elders. See some illustration. Put the remaining cubes into a common dead pile up here. And the Tunit Markland colony. Player green starts with 5 cubes on the Markland card in north row taken from Valhalla. Who's the Tunit? Tunit is green. Okay. Remember, they're the first to actually reach, so. Starting discs. Each player starts with 5 orange, 1 white, and 1 black. I missed this, by the way, when I was setting up. So there are a bunch. The Tunits start with a bunch more pieces, and that's kind of they're at some disadvantages, so they get a start. In the beginner's game, you're supposed to get rid of daughters, Norse domestic animals, New World, and D&I cards from the game. Now, I probably should have just done that in my initial playthrough to learn things, but I didn't get to that point. This is where I stopped. Actually, that's not true. I skipped over this and started trying to play. So, the hell with that. The Survivalist game, this is going to be the more historically accurate game. I'm not going to play with this, but the alpha auto rolls 2s instead of 1s. You don't know anything about this. It's not, at the end where like, hey, here's different game options would be. But it kind of makes sense because the other thing is, hey, how do you play in 2 and how do you play if you're starting? So it makes some sense to put it here. It's just, yeah, whatever. So this means that he could kill himself, and it's completely useless when you're on the cold side. You don't use the iron roll, whatever the hell that is, and cards taken from your hand or tableau are not replaced. Thus, cards taken into your hand or tableau are not replaced. Thus, Greenland freezes faster. So, actually, there'll just be less of it, as far as I can tell. Okay, that's as much as I can handle. It's going to take me a fucking week to get through this damn thing. But, just the rolls. Because I just do not have the mood or spirit to deal with it. But honestly, again, I don't know if I have the fucking mood to do anything. Like, I probably could have played one of my other Catans. That's about it. I'm not even in the mood to do an XX. I'm just sick of games. Sick of life. The part of the game that really floored me, okay, is the drawing of an event card and how that's explained what you do. And it's basically step by step of look for this icon. Is it on the card that you're looking at? It's a painful presentation. This should not be a regular rules portion of it, but whatever. So first thing is you have these 2 differing symbols to indicate whether or not there's a north or south migration. If there is, you'll reveal a card here and it'll replace one of the cards there. That card just goes away. Decimation I didn't get to. That wasn't in mine, so I didn't bother with it. But we're going to basically work our way through these and see what things happen with each event card. I think that's the only real way to cope with it, but it's a painful... it was a painful process, and like most of this game, I found the presentation and my capability to execute based on it very, very hindered. Then each player assigns all their unassigned cubes in player order, and this is where I was just floored, was the, okay, so this was painful. Now I come to, I gotta decide shit based on, I don't know shit. All I've got is this set of rules. It's like, it's really hard because if I was playing, again, let's take another Eklund game. Let's say I'm playing Lords of the Sierra Madre and I hit a space where it says, well, put your bid on something, right? That's a thing that happens early in the turn and you don't know how much something's worth. But, you can make a guess. You can see the value on the card, etc. Here, I've got to assess the entire board. It's not, in Lords of Sierra Madre, you've got an option on one card. Here, I've got an option across the whole board, whatever's available on the entire tableau. And I don't know what things are going to do and how they're going to work. Now, that works great for the modern Euro player who doesn't want to understand, you know, the basic principles of the game. The excitement for them is to learn those, I guess, or discover them or something. I really don't understand what pleases such people. It doesn't work well for me as someone who's approaching it with, I want to make reasonable decisions based on the information I'm looking at. I have to look at too much information at this point. It would be similar to playing a game of Illuminati, right? And there being a whole shit ton of materials out there at the beginning of the game. And this is what killed me on another very popular game. I'm trying to remember what it was. I can't tell you for sure. It was a space-based game. It might have been that Galactic Emperor down there. Something along those lines where you had, you know, just all this information flowing at you at once without much except the icons, which require getting used to give you any kind of grasp on it. No map, no broad strategy that just is kind of apparent from things. You could probably make the same argument with Dominion, but Dominion was so focused and so tight and so small. You've got 10 cards. That's what you're supposed to do. Look at those 10 cards, figure out which ones, you know, have a synergy and what you want to do with them. None of that's that simple in this, right? And it's one reason why the more complex you get, the less Euro you should be. Unfortunately, the modern Euro is designed around the idea of, let's mimic the complexity required to do a war game, but let's make sure that nobody has any idea what the fuck's going on. And the game's about trying to figure out what the game's about, I guess. I don't fucking know. But that's what this feels like. Okay, so you assign your unassigned cubes. They can be put on a card, either a biome, in which case they're hunting, an elder card for promotions, a daughter or livestock card, raiding or defense, or in the New World for colonizing. You can put multiple cubes on a card, or leave some unassigned. I don't know why you'd want to leave them unassigned. We've got to keep bending this because the tiny little book doesn't hold itself together. Hunting biomes. To hunt one of the biomes that are revealed, you place hunter cubes on it. Homeland. The Tunit and Thule share a homeland. This includes all the cards in the north row except Markland, plus all the cards in both the Tunit and Thule tableau. That's not really true, is it? Maybe it is. All of them are. Here there's some that are not. This is indicated with the green-yellow biome type. The Norse homeland is South Greenland with red biome icons. This includes all the cards in the south row except Vinland plus the north tableau. Well, this is Vinland. Okay. But Vinland's not the Norse homeland. Yeah, except Vinland. Okay, so I guess all of these are going to be red. That was not clear to me. But again, it's this kind of mixing things together on one row. It doesn't work for me easily. Mariner. You must have one Mariner Elder, rank 6. Okay. For each biome or tableau card outside your homeland that you place cubes on. Each Mariner Elder can transport up to 4 hunter cubes to a single biome or tableau card. Sleds. For each D card with a sled icon on your tableau, and we can take a look. This is a D. I don't think it has a sled. I don't know where the sled would be, so it's kind of hard to tell. This has like a boat or something. That's not a sled. Is this a sled, or is it some kind of weird ant? I don't know. Could be either. I doubt that there's weird ants, so I'm going to call that a sled, but it doesn't exactly look like the sled here. And you wouldn't think gyrfalcons would be sleddable. Yeah, I'm not convinced what this is. You give me images and I can't fucking figure them out. That's a something or other. It may be a sled. You can place any number of cubes on one card outside your homeland without a mariner. However, you cannot use these in the New World spaces. The New World cards, Markland and Vinland, are biomes in the New World. They go into the North and South rows respectively. These cards are not part of their homeland of any player, and you need a mariner to go there. Sleds won't work. And again, we're not sure what sleds look like. Inexhaustible. Any number of players may place cubes on these cards. Well, that's the infinity, and that's marked here. I don't know where exhaustible is elsewhere, but okay. The infinity symbol under the dice icons indicates that, unlike other biomes, any number of players can successfully hunt there. Okay. Can successfully hunt there. Remember, on these, the general rule is if you successfully hunt, everyone else fails. I think in these, you can successfully hunt and other people can successfully hunt there as well. Any number of players may place cubes on these cards seems to apply to any of the cards. The difference being that question about successfully hunting, which is a wording problem, and Eklund games tend to have issues with choices of words. But it gets a lot worse when there's no intuitive resources to fall back on. And this game has no intuitive resources. Of course, that's actually not purely an Eklund thing. Most modern Euros seem to be obnoxious. And it really breaks down to you have nothing to break, you have nothing to make decisions on other than the wording of the rules. It becomes pure rules lawyering to figure out what the game is about. And then later to figure out what the rules of the game are. And then later, from those rules, you try to figure out what the game is trying to represent. Exactly the opposite of what I think it should be. Colonists. Cubes in Markland or Vinland are permanently assigned and are not returned home each turn. These cubes are colonists. Hostile beatniks. If after negotiations the number of cubes in Markland or Vinland is greater than 6, counting all players, then the card flips to its hostile side. New World Little Ice Age. If Markland or Vinland flips over or shifts to the cold side, any colonists on it follow. If the card is removed in a migration, all the colonists go to Valhalla. Lucky them. Maybe that's not a good thing in this game. Promotion to Elder. You promote an unassigned hunter to the Elder status by paying an energy and putting its cube on one of the Elder ranks of your Elder card. His powers are effective immediately. This is a permanent assignment, and the cube cannot change ranks. You may have multiple Elders on each rank. They can die, though. Placing unassigned hunters on the New World Elder cards or the exogamy box on Daughters is a permanent assignment. This means the cubes are not returned to your unassigned hunters. The cubes do not count as unassigned hunters during decimations. However, if you begin this phase, E, with one or no unassigned hunters, you may reassign one permanently assigned Elder, Colonist, or Husband as an unassigned hunter, assuming you have the appropriate sleds or mariners. Which I guess means coming home from the New World is the only case where that matters. Well, why sleds? What is permanent that you would need sleds for? I don't know. I don't know. Do you need a sled to convert an Elder or a Husband? Might make sense with the Husband, but not so much with the Elder. Is that what it's trying to say? Is it trying to say something else? I throw my hands in the air and have nothing to base it on. Exogamy means that I think the male, someone is in someone else's home, but that's not absolutely clear here, so gosh. Well, we're going to pause. Colony abandonment. If you have enough unused mariners to evacuate all your colonists, you may assign them to hunt or raid in Greenland. Colonies may be partially abandoned by leaving during phase F. but I guess that's something different. Livestock or Sabine raid. To raid a D or daughter card, D is not daughter. D is livestock? Yeah. D is animal. D stands for animal or livestock or something like that. That makes sense because those words start with a D, whereas daughter obviously doesn't. Whatever. On the opponent's tableau, place unassigned hunter cubes on the card. This will be resolved some other time by means that you don't know, and you have to understand all of this to go forward. And again, fine, you got to kind of understand what the game's about, but there's no simple resolution that's been spelled out already, right? When you're trying to figure out what the fuck you're going to do when you're looking through the sequence of play. And I'm just being an asshole at this point, but whatever. Warchief. You must have a rank 4 elder to make a raid. Okay. Allowed to attack livestock or livestock Sabine raid if first designate first player. Yeah, whatever. You need a mariner or sled to raid a tableau card that is not in your homeland. Okay. Well, daughters. Where are daughters? I don't know. Again, not spelled out. I think livestock might have a homeland on them, but again, not clear yet. Probably never made clear. So Thules and Tunit don't need transportation to raid each other. Okay, that makes it sound like the Vikings need transportation to raid the other two Tableau stuff. Now, I don't know if that means if you have like a livestock card that's been converted from a territory that's in your homeland, is that raidable? Again, who knows? I cards cannot be raided or stolen, and cubes are never placed on them. Also, D cards indicate no raid, cannot be livestock raided. And we'll look to see, this one says no raid on it, so that's what that would look like. And it doesn't have the raid die rolls on it. Okay. Again, too much information on something that's completely new is really what it comes to. Like, this could have been handled like a Lord's game, where there's simplified systems. Hey, here's how you move your pieces. Here's how you do attacks. And now here's the effects of doing those things. Why an attack becomes a raid or whatever. What happens from that? Instead, we don't know. But it's not spelled out in that sort of way. That's for sure. Maybe it all uses a standard combat resolution. Again, I've read it, but it didn't sink in at all. You may, and it's probably not right now. You may also assign hunters to your daughter or livestock to defend them. This will be resolved in phase F. Now remember, you do this assignment in player order, I think. I don't know. E, assignment in player order, yeah. So if one person who had an earlier player order is raiding you, you can throw your defenses on. It gives an advantage to the last player. Other players have to kind of waste hunters to defend things that may not even be being attacked. And probably won't be attacked. Okay. And we bend the book again. Navigational reassignment. The Sunstone Compass card in your Tableau. I don't think we have one of those available. I'm guessing it's off an I, but I don't know. Allows you to reassign 3 of your hunters after everyone has assigned all their hunters. This reassignment must be either to other cards where you have cubes, but not to the New World, or to daughter or livestock cards in your Tableau. You can reassign regardless of your mariner limits. Viking Solar Compass. This is the same thing. Okay. There's just different words next to it, but that's an example. The alpha. You start with your big alpha cube. This is like any other cube, except you have the option to consider the hunt roll for this cube to be a 1 without rolling for it. You must decide to use this special ability before you make the hunt roll. If you choose not to use the alpha ability, or if he's used in a biome or raid where his ability is inactive, then he rolls a die like anyone else. If the die designated as his kills him off, he can be resurrected as your next new baby. I don't know if you have to roll a different colored die for him if you have to roll them. I also don't know where alphas are disallowed. Again, there's so much noise on these cards, it's hard to tell. I'm not good with pictures, I'm not good with icons. I tend to stay away from games that rely too heavily on them, and I'm getting fucking old and tired of this shit. Okay, if the alpha special ability is deactivated on metallurgy or raid biomes, well, it is. Okay. So this is not specified here. That's a metallurgy biome. You just have to remember that, I guess. What is a raid biome? Geez, I don't know what a raid biome is. Okay, we're going to have to put this card here, and we'll look at B1. I know what I can identify metallurgy. I don't remember there being raid biomes, but again, biomes have a type. Raid is the arrows. Okay. Yeah. So they only work on hunting and fishing biomes. They work on half of them, but they're, and, you know, again, wow. And also in attacks or raids, the big cube is treated like any other cube. Okay, great. All right, we had enough. Pause time again. Let's keep pushing through. All right, if you have cubes on the same card as an opponent or cubes on the Tableau card of an opponent, you can open negotiations. You can ask them to leave or volunteer to leave. You can exchange discs, hand cards, or D&I cards in your Tableau, as well as offer daughters for marriage or make non-binding agreements. My guess is that if you have a D card in your Tableau, it's in your homeland, rather than regarded by the card. But again, I'm trying to use reason, which works with games that are based on reason, but again, once you start Eurifying too much, I lose that. Anyway, your hunters can leave during this phase only if all other players with cube present allow you to leave. If a hunter leaves, either return them to your unassigned hunters, or marry them to a foreign bride, which is probably a negotiated situation. We'll see that. If agreed to by the player holding the daughter card. Transportation, if leaving the New World or a biome outside your homeland, you're limited to 4 cubes per mariner. The number of cubes leaving is unlimited if you have sleds, if you're not going by sea. Exogamy. All right, this gives you a shark for some reason. Why? I don't know. There's sharks on something I saw, but I think this had a shark. It's an invention. A seal scratcher? I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Anyway. Whatever that all means. Oh, that means that this is a special kind of roll. No. I seem to remember... Yeah, they put fucking icons in the rolls to try to indicate what a roll is. I think that means that it's like something you shouldn't play with basic name, but I don't know. Anyway, we need it. Okay, if agreed to as negotiations or through a Sabine raid, players can move assigned hunters onto daughter cards in a foreign tableau per F0. that's this, but I'm not sure. It's not numbered. Place these cubes called husbands into the exogamy box to show that they aren't raiders. This is a permanent assignment, so husbands are no longer unassigned hunters. The daughter now shares her ability with the player who owns the tableau and the player who owns the husband. Monogamy, only one husband allowed per daughter. Married daughters cannot be offered in subsequent negotiations. The husband counts towards the defense of a daughter card. If the daughter card is remarried in a Sabine raid, the original husband is killed. That makes sense. Okay, attacks. And here, I don't know what this smear was. It was something on my finger. I think some tree sap. If you have a rank 4 Warchief, your hunters, colonists, and raiders can attack other cubes on the same card by rolling a number of dice equal to the number of cubes present. Any ones will kill a cube of the victim's choice. Most Iron Order. Yeah. This is like, to me, a mixed up way to try to express things. Like, I don't know what this dot means, but for multiple attackers, most go in most Iron Order. Oh, most Iron Order. That is, the player with the most iron discs rolls first and applies damage, the next attacker, etc. You may distribute your hits among multiple defendants. Rerolls. And this is the arrow, which is up here, but probably doesn't mean that. But it's also on some of these daughters, and again, that's probably not what it means. It means daughters are raidable, so I don't know, but I'm seeing similar iconography in various places, and I recognize it, so I go look for what I see. For the purpose of an attack roll, the listed biome type is ignored, and I don't know if this means, like, do I have to have this somewhere? I can get it off a Warchief. May attack. Okay. I don't know. The listed biome type, B1, is ignored, and instead the archer icon is used. If the attacker has a tableau card with may reroll archer icon, which appears to be here on the Warchief, and you can't attack without that, but I'm not sure. He is allowed one reroll for each attack die of the value indicated, which means, in this case, if I roll a 6 or a 3, I can take those dice and reroll them. In this case, I think it allows you rerolls of 4s. Here's may reroll for whatever the fuck that is, which is not a sled, I think. But we saw before somewhere else. I don't know. And again, this is what happens when you give me icons. I stop being able to process them. I'm having enough trouble with processing and focusing, but it may be vengeful. That may be COVID still affecting me. Vengeful husbands and shepherds. If you are defending a card in your tableau against a livestock or Sabine raid, you are allowed attacks even if you have no Warchief, and each cube automatically rolls a 1. Which means they kill someone. Okay, that's interesting. After resolving the attack, return any surviving defenders to your unassigned hunter pool. Now remember, you attack in order, so you might be dead if you don't have enough iron. Okay, and then we have an example, and we don't want to read examples because we're fucking tired of that shit. It's bad enough. The rules are like a bunch of example rules to me. It's bad enough. The New World turns hostile. To pacify, flip card this. That's one of these. Oh, here's maybe a sled. To pacify, flip card. Okay. If after negotiations and attacks there are more than 6 cubes on a peaceful New World card, flip it over to its hostile side. All cubes remain on the card. Pacification. If you have cubes on a hostile card, you may pay 1 ivory at the end of the phase to flip it to peaceful. However, if it's still got 6 colonists on it, next negotiation it'll go hostile again, so that may not be a good idea. Hostile, I presume, has worse values. The shark bite is worse. I assume other stuff is. Who knows? You got to examine all the components to understand a damn thing about the game. So, you know. The iron roll. If you have suffered losses during an opponent's attack roll or during your hunt roll, right after the hunt, you can expend 1 iron to cancel your losses. Well, that's pretty massive. All right, well, look at hunting, I guess. It looks like a huge section. Yeah. All right, we'll get through this. Cubes on a biome are assigned hunters. When it's your turn to hunt, make a hunt roll by rolling a number of dice equal to your cubes. If the card's on the warm side, 1s and 2s are hits. If it's on the cold side, only 1s will hit. If your roll shows a number of hits greater than or equal to the number of dice shown in the upper left corner of the card, you get the benefit. Right? It's successfully hunted. After hunting, all your surviving hunters are returned to your unassigned hunter pool. The first player determines which card is hunted first, second, third. Mandatory hunt on your turn to hunt. All your assigned hunters and colonists must make a hunt roll. Often you don't have to roll for the alpha. The hunt roll may be modified by G2, G3, whatever. That's helpful to know. Oh, hi. The Stellars, I see a crest, but he looks a little duller than usual. Looking for something to eat under my wood. Probably ants. This is a lot more interesting than playing a game. I should just video birds out my window. And the squirrels and all the fun things. Where the fuck are we? Yeah. Attrition. Hunting is dangerous. If it shows shark bite dice, any die rolls that match those will kill the units. But you can use the iron rule to reverse your losses, and that reverses all your losses for 1 iron, so that could be very useful. If there's hunters of more than 1 player on a biome, the hunt goes in least hunter order. The first player to succeed in the hunt gains the benefits. All other players go home. But it takes at least 2 hunters to succeed here, and they both have to roll 1s. No, I think that's 1s or 2s. Yeah, 1 or 2, 1. Ooh, hostile doesn't affect that. Ooh, cold isn't listed. I don't know. Oh, thing's got mark setting. Hi. I put some water out, and I think that's part of what's attracting more wildlife. I put some down here. I've got some upstairs, but... Oh, everybody's here. Yeah, this is a lot better than doing the rolls. Yeah, the thing that the woodpecker's on has a lot of ants in it. That other one, he's been drilling, or he and his ilk have been drilling for a long time, but the one is not. Well, I'm gonna stop videoing, much as they're very interesting, because this is probably not what you're here for, but I want to watch them more than... Wow. Oh! I'm seeing about the water. Oh boy, everybody's here. Everybody's excited. Jeez. It's hard for me. I mean, you know, how often do you get a woodpecker this close? Damn. All right, I'm going to cut and just go to the woodpecker. And I wish I had paused earlier, caught more of that on just sort of a nature video, but it turned out the noise of the camera, I think, kind of scared my woodpecker away, so I wouldn't have gotten as good a shot. Anyway, what do we got going on here? Sabine or livestock raid. Each cube placed on an E5 makes a hunt roll, just as if it's on a... Now, E5, I guess, is the Sabine or livestock raids. Again, you know, hey. As if the raiders roll one of the die rolls shown on the raid number. For example, her. I guess those are successes, but there's a shark bite on the 3. I don't know. That's a little weird. Let's see. If any of the raiders roll one of the die faces shown on the raid field, the raid succeeds. It looks like both numbers are on the raid field, but one of them causes an injury. Livestock raid, if you successfully raid a D card, same kind of view. You steal the babies that normally would have gone to the owner during H2. Well, we're not there yet, so... the victim must still pay the hay cost, H1. If you are raiding sheep, you may optionally steal an ivory instead of a baby. And does that say that on sheep? I don't know. It's got this, which shows baby or ivory or snowflake. Whatever. If you successfully raid a daughter in an opponent's tableau, place one of the surviving raiders in the exogamy box, killing off the previous husband. If any, you gain the daughter's benefits immediately. This is why I say it feels a little weird. So a Sabine raid, the exogamy shouldn't be the husband living over with the wife's family. That might happen in normal marriage, or it might go the other way. But with a Sabine raid, it really doesn't make sense. You don't go in and steal people's women and live with those people, right? But that's how it seems to represent, and whatever. I mean, you can do some hand-wavy explanation for it, but the representation is obnoxious. Okay. If you have one or more Tableau cards depicting a biome type labeled may re-roll. Now, I don't know what they mean depicting a biome type is. I'm looking to see if I see any of these cards. I don't see one. Wait, we got something here. May re-roll. Biome type is these weird ant things. Or slugs or something. I would assume that would show up on a biome. Is that a type? That may be this type, which I think is the hunting type. Let's put the card back and dig through here. It would be really helpful. Given that this is a card-based game, hey, give me something that explains all the icons on it so I don't have to flip through. Yeah, it's land hunting. When you're land hunting, you're hunting slugs, apparently. Whatever. Okay. Hey, it's the only fun I'm going to get out of this. You're allowed to re-roll each hunt die in that biome with the number indicated. The 5 biome type icons are shown in B1. Great, you know. Hunt modifications due to inventions. If you have an invention or import in your tableau with a purple icon corresponding to the biome type. Like that, I guess. The dice showing the indicated number become 1s instead. So this is even better than a reroll. This allows me to create 1s out of another die roll. Result of a successful hunt. If you successfully hunt a biome, you first take your attrition. Then add the indicated number of babies. There are babies here with some word in them. Colonist. Okay, those babies have to go on the colony. These babies do not. They just go in your unassigned hunters. And that's specified here. You can tell because the picture's there. You can't tell because of the wording. Because the picture's there, it disrupts the mind from being able to read the words, right? But and again, I have specific problems with icons and pictures. You must add these cubes if you have any available. You also get any discs specified. How are discs specified? I guess they're specified here. I see something there. I can either get a winged helmet, which I don't know what it means, or I can get a fire. A fire is a fuel orange marker. I have no idea what a winged helmet is. I see it here. Or maybe that's a snowflake icon. Because I see that word here. I can't read whole paragraphs when there's too many pictures. And I have trouble with whole paragraphs anyway nowadays. But let's see. Limits. Well, we're somewhere else. Let's go back. Try to see. Unless you claim it as a trophy, which might be the winged helmet. Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe there's... I know we found some. I'm saying maybe there's some kind of indicator of what all the icons fucking mean. Okay, there's the... yeah, it doesn't really... It's showing icons that don't matter in given circumstances and ones that do, and it's just a mishmash of pictures that may or may not have much to do with the words they're associated with. Okay. Where are we? You may also get any disc specified unless you claim it as a trophy or take it into your hand. The card remains in the row. You'll also get, unless you claim, okay, so there's a period here. So unless you claim it as a trophy or take it into your hand, the card remains in the row. So maybe you do the other things and you get a trophy for victory points. If you run out of cubes or discs, CB4. Okay, I'll make sure to do that. I'll remember that rule. I'm supposed to CB4 if I run out of cubes or discs. It's what tells you, what is in play and what's not, but whatever. Limits. You may gain the benefit of a hunted card only once per turn, even if you roll multiple successes. For example, if you roll 3 ones when hunting a harbor seal, you get 1 baby, not 3. New World babies. Babies born in Markland or Vinland become colonists instead of unassigned hunters. Iron mine. Successfully hunting in an iron biome gives you an iron disc. In the case of bog iron, if you succeed in the hunt roll, you suffer a snowflake icon event. If you can't or won't play, the hunt fails. Well, we don't know D3. We kind of skipped that because I thought that was in the event cards. Is it important? Energy or elder depletion. The snowflake icon means each player. Okay, I think this is only for the player who hunted it. Each player must expend the number of energy and or elders specified by the event. You can choose which elders to die from among your elders. On your color, on any elder card. If you have no elders or D cards, then there's no effect. If you don't pay for a D card, discard it instead, obtaining its value per B3. Okay, you must spend specified by the event, and it looks like you pay for each. I don't know what the winged helmets are again. Are they on all D cards? Is that like just saying you get a winged helmet? I don't know. This is a D card. It has a winged helmet here, but none anywhere else. This is a D card. It has a winged helmet here. That I think is trophy and nowhere else. I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to express. Right? Yeah, maybe. Maybe it makes sense, maybe not. If an event card with a snowflake icon appears, the number of energy elders you lose is reduced by 1 if you have Saila as a wife or daughter. Presumably, if we find her by her name, Pipsqueak, whatever, Saila. Saila is over here. 1 less orange loss during snowflake events. Only orange loss, right? You must expend energy or elders. I guess it's also elders, but whatever. Right? Got to make everything nice and specific. I need a break. Yeah, I know we're not even through this section, but making my way through these rules is such a fucking nightmare. It really is. Say it's because of using hieroglyphics and pictograms instead of words. Or mixed in with the words, right? But with the assumption that they add information, like the fact that they're necessary is problematic. Words should be sufficient. Warm side hunt. If a card is to the right of the draw deck, both 1s and 2s are successful. This is different from weapons use, where the numbers become 1s and count for 1. I don't know what weapon use is. I'm assuming it's a tool capability like this. But I don't know that that's a weapon. That's cold forging process. That sounds like it's related to weapons, but not actually using a weapon. That should allow you to make weapons, not... whatever. Whatever. And count as 1s for all purposes. This distinction is important when determining if you roll doubles, triples, etc. during trophy taking or domestication. Successfully hunting a biome outside the New World returns all your cubes on it to your unassigned hunters. All other cubes on it are automatically unsuccessful and are also returned to the owner's unassigned hunters. We're still not done with G. Okay. Adding trophy cards to your tableau. The antler icon, this is not the horned helmet. That's something slightly different, whatever. Indicates a card that can be taken on your tableau as a trophy. It has 2, 3, or 4 blank dice on it. Your hunt roll must include doubles, triples, or quadruples to add this to your tableau. So if I got triples of any kind, I think I can get that. Place it partly under your elder card rotated. If the antler has no dice, it adds to your hand, not under your elder card. A successful hunt is not necessary to claim a trophy. For example, if the trophy indicates doubles, any doubles will claim the trophy. The removed card has been overhunted and is not replaced in the row. Taking I or D cards into your hand. The hand icon indicates biomes that can be taken into your hand. If it has 2, 3, or 4 blank dice on it, your hunt roll must include doubles, triples, or quadruples to optionally take it into your hand. If it has no dice, a successful hunt takes it into your hand. Cards can be taken into your... This is different from the other one, where no dice... Right? No dice added to your hand as per G6, and it appears that you can... So this, with its big 13 victory points, I think you don't need a successful hunt roll, and you don't need doubles. You just get it. Right? Or no, that's a D. That's a D, so you need that. That's... Oh, but to take it as a trophy, you get it in your hand, which counts the same as having it in your hand. So, yeah. So you can domesticate Orca with no problem, I think. That doesn't make a fuck bit of sense. I don't believe you can domesticate Orca. You get the 13 victory points or the domesticated Orca card, no matter what, I think. If you just go for it. I don't know. It's really hard to hunt, though. I have no idea what is intended, and don't expect to. And I expect the game to just be this mystery of chaos, because the rules don't help. Okay. But if this had a hand icon, oh, this does have a hand icon, but it also has a trophy, and I don't know anything about that. That's the same as this. But this has a hand without dice on it. So you can just take that. Okay, whatever. Cards can be taken into your hand even if the hunt was unsuccessful. Cards can be taken into your hand even if your hand is full, but then you must discard down to hand size. Whatever. Whatever. Biodiversity. If a card is taken as a trophy, it is not replaced, so the row now has one less card. If the card is taken into your hand, G6. Now, you take trophy cards into your hand, right? There's somewhere here. If the antler icon has no dice added to your hand as per G6, maybe those all come with a technology as well as the trophy, whatever. I don't know. But if it's taken into your hand, G6, even if it's taken under the G5 rules, but they do refer to G6, replace it in the same position with the top card drawn from the draw deck so that the number of cards in the row is unchanged unless you're playing the Survivalist variant. Cards replaced by migration, whatever, go out of the game. That's D1. I don't remember that. And given that I've forgotten, you know, I've been focusing on the rules today, and I've already forgotten what the fuck they are. So it's like, yeah, good luck. Good luck being able to remember while I play. That's the paw print. Okay. good fucking luck with anything here. Okay, G8, hunt example. The Norse player tries to hunt walrus. Yeah, this is an example. I have read through these before. I did not like them. And they don't tell me anything new. And we are done for a little while again as we go to domesticating animals. And we're almost done with the rules. This is the end here at page 25. So we will get through this today and maybe get to start playing and maybe get far enough along that I can quit and say, boy, I fucking can't cope with this kind of game. So let's finish up the last of what's here, I hope. We have not gotten to domestic animals. Hay cost. For each snowflake icon on each D card. Okay, there's like snowflakes. And some of them, I guess. In your Tableau, you must expend either an energy or an elder. So you can feed your cattle elders of your choice. You must pay this cost even if it has been successfully livestock rated. In order to avoid the hay cost, or if you can't pay, discard the D card. If it has an energy value, you get these discs per B3. Again, it's not... I think this is the value, not this. This is telling you the snowflake cost, which is you either have to use fuel or a helmet with antlers, which is apparently the symbol for elders. Okay. Unless it has been successfully livestock rated, you gain the babies indicated. You do not need to assign any hunters or roll dice to gain those babies. And there are babies indicated on each thing. In the case of the other side here, this is one of the most expensive critters. It requires 2 fuel, creates 2 babies, is worth 2 victory points, I guess, as a trophy or something. I don't know, just for having. It's raidable. There's the raid numbers. And if you slaughter it, it turns into 2 fuel. Well, you've got the same here. Now, for whatever reason, this side's gray. Don't have a good answer for why. It only eats 1 fuel each time. It'll turn into either babies or ivory, raidable. You can slaughter it for a fuel. Similar, can only create a baby. No ivory there. And then here, I don't know what the hell. I think this gives you sledge capacity. I don't think you have to feed it for sleds or anything. But it takes 2 eating and only creates 1 baby, but it gives you that sled capacity. This seemed the most valuable of them, so I just went with it without consulting the things. Maybe I'll find out that, wow, I could have gotten away with cattle or something. I don't have any fucking clue. Milk and skyr. Unless it's been livestock rated, you gain the babies, yeah. Icelandic waterproof wool in the sheep, you get to get baby or ivory. That's not indicated with this. You just get the sleds, I guess. Each player can do elder actions if he has 1 or more elder cubes of the specified rank and pays the resource cost. You can perform each action only once each turn for each cube. If you're polytheist, you do them first, and then the monotheists do them. Otherwise, they're simultaneous. So domestication. Is that this? I don't know. Let's look. Play a D card from your hand for a fuel. Okay. So without a shaman, you can't domesticate. Interesting. That wasn't apparent before until we hit here. When you move to your Tableau, both D and I cards are rotated 180 degrees so the purple text reads out upright. Yeah, fine. When you convert to monotheism, you can no longer domesticate your animals. Because once you believe in a single god, animals won't follow you anymore or something. This has to do with, historically, like, no new animals were basically domesticated once cultures became monotheistic. But it seems kind of weird to me. Hard to believe. Banishment. This is I2. Where's that listed? That is also under the Shaman capability. You can spend, and you know, again, it's not easy to see what you can do. It's written on the card from the rules. It doesn't really make it clear that it's only the Shaman. Expend an energy to try to kill one cube in your tableau. Either remove one of your own elder cubes automatically, or roll to try to remove one of your opponent's husbands or elders from your tableau. If you wish to kill an opponent's cube, say a missionary or a husband, you expend the energy and you roll a number of dice equal to your maximum hand size, which is not specified on the card. I think there's something about hand size down there, but it has nothing to do with this. For each one rolled, you kill off a missionary or a husband. But Norse husbands are immune because they bring their axes. No, because they actually take the women. Now, this is screwed up because if you do a Sabine raid, you do move into their village where you can be killed. Which is just weird. Witchburn. Okay, Witchburn. Where is that noted? It is not. It's on the monotheistic side. Okay, so we have to flip a card. And that would be, I guess, a bishop. Spend an energy and kill a cube in your tableau. It can be one of your elders or an opponent's husband or representative. As a special rule in the 3-player game which we'll be playing, Norse husbands are immune to banishment and witch burning. This reflects the celebrated Viking custom of stealing women, so exogamy is actually in the Norse camp out of reach of Thule or tunic bishops or shaman. Tool making. Rank 3 action. Tool making. Where's this? That's going to be the artisan, I guess. Expend 1 iron and play an eye card into your hand. And that appears to be right here. On your tableau, the ivory carver, the tunit is the only one, are able to use ivory to make their tools. Emissary. Rank 5 action monotheist. And that's under Acolyte. Expend 1 energy and move one of your rank 5 Elder Cubes to the first rank in an opponent's Elder card. This becomes a missionary if it sits on a polytheist Elder card or a representative on a monotheist one. Missionaries can forcibly convert your opponent to monotheism, and having at least 1 representative gives you extra victory points. Proselytize. Rank 2 action monotheism. Rank 2, I guess, means a bishop can do it. If you have a rank 2 elder plus at least 1 missionary cube in the first rank of an opponent's polytheist elder card, expend an energy and roll a number of dice equal to your maximum hand size. Any ones will permanently convert your opponent to monotheism. You flip them over, but you keep all their elders where they are. You can only proselytize if your missionary has been in position since the beginning of the turn. You may use the same missionary for multiple attempts. See the example below. It sounds clean enough. Baptism, voluntary conversion, polytheism. Your elder card is double-sided. It starts out polytheist, but during your elder actions phase, if you have no elders of your color on it, I guess anywhere. It just says where you have no elders of your color. That's not an indication. Does it mean your elders, or does it count elders that you've already sent to someone else's card? Can you send them to someone else's card if you're polytheist? Maybe not. You have the option to permanently switch to monotheism for no cost. Now this changes your victory conditions. Speaking of which, game end and victory. The game ends on the last turn of the event deck, or at the end of a turn where there's no warm or cold cards in either row. Count up the victory points. Trophy victory points only count if you're polytheist. If you have a trophy icon, which I think is these, and that includes like animals and stuff, like this has a trophy. So if you stay polytheist and have cows, you have a trophy. In your Tableau, list the victory points it's worth. If you end the game monotheistic, your trophies stay on the board, but they're not worth anything. Resource victory points. This is for monotheists only. Each ivory is worth 1. Each iron is worth 2. You can convert cards in your Tableau with an iron or ivory value per B3 towards your VP. Note that if you end the game polytheist, these aren't worth anything. Now, I don't know this per B3, if this is a limitation saying you have to do it back in stage B3, or after the game ends can you do this? Again, not great. I think this actually might tell you here in this, and that's what examples are for, basically, is that somebody couldn't write the rules correctly, as far as I'm concerned. Sometimes there is a real reason for it, but this doesn't seem like that kind of game. Population VP. Each of your cubes not in Valhalla is worth a victory point. If a New World card ends the game on the cold side, each colonist cube on it counts as 2 victory points. Democratic VP. Any player with 1 or more representative cubes in an opponent's elder card gets 4 victory points at the end of the game for being part of the thing. Now, this is weird because it's only supposed to be a representative on a monotheist elder card, but apparently, no, I guess only if it's a monotheist. Okay. Extinction. If all your cubes go to Valhalla, you score no points and you're out of the game. You leave only cultural artifacts to be discovered in the next global thaw. And rules for the Solitaire. Either one player plays all 3 cultures or all 3 players. I'm not doing either of those. I'm playing a 3-player game Solitaire, which is a little different. But in either case, the players are equally victorious only if all 3 cultures survive with unassigned hunters or colonists at the end of the game. All 16 event cards would be used in this case. You use survivalist rules. Sunspot icon, you ignore global cooling on the first turn. Thereafter, this event causes all 3 cultures to take decimation in addition to its normal effects. If 2 cooling occur in 1 turn, it's only treated as if 1 happened. Negotiation, each turn during negotiation, 1 disc husband or eye card from each culture can be swapped with others. So black and white disc can be expended as if they were orange. The idea here is that you're running them all and trying to cooperate to make sure that they all survive. And that seems completely ahistorical. I'm not going to play the survivalist game in and of itself. There's other stuff. Oh, here we go. Here's an explanation of all the icons. Would have been nice if I had noticed this earlier. This actually is probably really, really helpful to understanding the game and should have been the first thing that we see. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm probably going to hate this thing. I'm going to give it as fair a shot as I can, given that. But the truth of the matter is, I am highly dispositioned to dislike it all, right? I hope you've enjoyed this. Assuming you stayed this long, you probably like seeing me get frustrated and angry. Unfortunately, I have the black table and the black chips on it. I may want to put something to keep my chips so that I can see them. That's just too close to each other. How likely does somebody have a black table? But dark brown or whatever. I'm going to send this up, maybe get a little bit of it played today. I still got to fix this damn lamp. It pisses me off to no end. It was all taped up and good, but somehow they ripped the switch off, and that was absolutely necessary. I mean, as you can see, it ain't going to work the way it is. I've had this here for a couple of years, mainly because, well, it's complicated, but I have some extra bulbs. I'm not sure that the bulbs that are up there, if there are any up there, survived. I'm not sure if the glass plate that was up there survived. And I'm kind of afraid to deal with the whole thing. That's just the way of my life, right? And I have another lamp that I could use, and we could get more light here. The problem is the electricity down here is a little fucked up. So I like plugged in my vacuum and tried running it there, and it shut the lights off. And that's not a good sign. These lights are too dim as it is. They used to be brighter, I think, but I don't know what happened. Maybe I'm mistaken about that. Maybe it's always been fucked up in the wiring. I had some electrical work done with the sump, and I don't feel like that was always orange like that, and it's not just not screwed in well enough. This one I don't think is burnt out. I think, again, it's just, yeah, there's flickering going on in it. It's just not getting enough juice, and it's probably a sign that my whole place is going to burn down, which would be fine if it takes me with it. All right, let's send this up.